I'm Pastor Stuart, and in this video I will be reviewing this new Bible from Thomas Nelson. It's a New King James Version, classic, verse-by-verse, centre column reference Bible in black Leathersoft imitation leather. And in this review I'll be looking at its readability, its features, its build quality, its portability, and also comparing it to the New King James Version Preaching Bible from Thomas Nelson. So let's start with looking at its readability. It's a verse-by-verse Bible, which means that each verse begins on a new line. It features a 10-point font, and it's the comfort print font, but it seems that they've done something different in terms of how they measure the size. It's advertised as a 10-point font, but when we consider another comfort print New King James Bible, namely the single column reference Bible in the Premier Collection, this is advertised as 10.5 point in size. And what's interesting is that this 10-point font is bigger than this 10.5 point font. So this is a nice large 10-point font that's nice and dark, very easy to read. It's also line matched so that the lines on both sides of the page appear in exactly the same place. So line number 3 there is in the same position as line number 3 there, and that helps to reduce the effects of show through from the other side of the page. This is also a red letter Bible, so the words of Jesus are in red. It's a nice dark red, it's certainly not too faint. The paper is nice, it's opaque, so you don't really have a problem. Well, I certainly don't have a problem with ghosting in this Bible. There is a slight sheen on this paper when it's used, for example, with a desk lamp. You can probably see a bit of glare on the right-hand column of this page as I move the paper. So do bear that in mind. But the readability of this Bible is very good, and I score it 5 out of 5. Now moving on to the features of this Bible. Each book has a very brief introduction to it. There's the introduction to Mark. There are over 72,000 cross-references, and you will find those in the center column. You will notice that the pilot chapter and verse number in the center column is red, which helps you to find it quickly. And also the verse numbers within the text are red also, as are the chapter numbers. This Bible does include the full set of Translators Notes within the center column, and these Translators Notes include things such as literal translations, alternative translations, explanatory notes, and textual notes also. So for example, if we look at Mark chapter 10 and verse 29, where Jesus said, "Assuredly I say to you, there is no one who has left house or brothers or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands," you will notice the superior numeral 2 next to lands. And when you look in the center column, you'll see that it informs us that lands is literally fields in the original language. Now, not all New King James versions have the full set of Translators Notes. So for example, here is a an older New King James verse by verse Bible. This is a personal sized edition. And if we look at Mark 10:29 here, you'll see the word lands does not have any Translators Note associated with it, and that's because this particular edition of the New King James Version only has an abridged version of the notes. So it does have a note for verse 29, and that's a textual note for the word wife, and it notes that this particular text omits the word wife, and the Bible I'm reviewing also has that note for wife as well. It puts it there, or wife, and it notes that it's omitted in these other manuscripts. But you will note that in verse 29 in this older edition, it does not have the note for lands, letting us know that literally it's fields in the Greek. But the good news is that this Bible I'm reviewing today, it has the full set of Translators Notes. Also, you will notice that some verse numbers are bolder than others. The bold verse numbers indicate a paragraph break. Now, this is something that also was done in older editions of verse by verse New King James versions. You can see the bold number for verse 23 there, and you can see the bold number here. What is different about this newer edition is that it has more bold verse numbers. So you'll notice verse 23 is bold, verse 26, verse 27, 28, 29, not 30 or 31, and then 32 is bold as well. Now compare that to this older New King James Version. Verse 23 is bold, but then the next bold verse number is not until verse 32, whereas in the newer edition there are several bold verse numbers in between. It's also worth noting in this newer verse by verse edition, more care has been taken in the way that verses are formatted. For example, let's look at verse 39 of Mark 10. You will notice here, they said to him, "We are able," and then a new line begins within that verse. Whereas in this older edition, after "we are able," there is no new line. So more care has been taken in this newer edition. The text, when it is prose, it fills the column, but for poetry, text is indented, as you can see there. There is a concordance at the end of this Bible. It's 164 pages, and there are 7 color maps at the back of this Bible. So this has great features. I would score the features of this Bible 5 out of 5. Now let's look at the build quality. It is an imitation leather. It has a paste down liner. It has 5 indentations on the spine. It has gold gilt edges. The binding is sewn. And it has 2 long ribbons. They are satin ribbons, one red and another one that is black. So this is not a premium edition. There is a premium edition available as well. It's part of Thomas Nelson's Premier Collection, which has goat skin leather and is edge-lined. And I think it has more than just the 2 ribbons. I think that one has 3 if I'm not mistaken. But this is very nice. I'm satisfied with the build quality and I would score it 4 out of 5. Now, the portability of this Bible. Its width is around 6.5 inches, its height about 9.5 inches, and the spine is about 1.5 inches. It weighs 2.6 pounds, and so I would say it's best used as a desk Bible rather than something you will want to hold in your hands for a long period of time. So I would score the portability of this about 2.5 out of 5. So let's compare this now to the Preaching Bible, which is also verse by verse. First of all, let me state this is the Preaching Bible above, and I actually use the Preaching Bible as my Preaching Bible. And so the question is, would this replace the Preaching Bible? I would say no, and the reason why is because the Preaching Bible has thicker paper, which is easier to turn. And when you're preaching, you want to be able to turn the pages quickly and easily. This paper is excellent, it's just not as thick as the Preaching Bible paper. Also, this paper is whiter than this, and that means that verses stick out. It's much easier to find a verse quickly or to spot a verse quickly because the brilliant white paper really helps the text to stick out. Also, the font is a bit larger in the Preaching Bible. However, I do think that this new verse-by-verse center column reference Bible is better for reading. And the reason I say that is because the color of the paper, I think, is not as harsh on the eyes, which is better for extended periods of reading. And also, the center column is a lot quicker to navigate than having all the references and translators notes at the bottom of the page. Trying to look up a translator's note at the bottom it does take longer than quickly being able to glance into the center column. I didn't mention that with this center column reference Bible, the references and notes that pertain to the left-hand column are at the top of the center column, and those that pertain to the right-hand side column are at the bottom half of the center column. These two Bibles weigh about the same, and that would be my comparison. Also, the Preaching Bible, it has less features. It does not have the book introductions, nor does it have a concordance, nor does it have maps. And also the Preaching Bible is black letter. It does not have the words of Jesus in red, which is actually my preference, whereas this one does. So that's a comparison of these two Bibles. This new center column reference Bible I think is excellent, and overall I would score it 5 out of 5 and would definitely recommend it to you as an excellent Bible to use. Thank you very much for watching this review. Please feel free to subscribe to this channel for more Bible reviews and sermons, and also do feel free to comment below. Thanks for watching. God bless.